Well, let me start here. I was thinking about this today in terms of coaching because I know I always start this with leave intros and leave with goals, like takeaway or outcomes goals. Adrian, you start, or Chris, you can start. How often do you think we remember to do this in practice, or per drill or per segment? I know I do this on all the Zooms, and I'm good at that. But then I was thinking, Chris, like our last practice, or even those new indie workouts we did before they shut us down for good. I'm not sure I told them the purpose of the new shit I was rolling out. I just went right into coaching it. I'm not sure I
Yeah,
talked about outcomes or takeaways, but you guys go ahead, talk about that. What do you think?
I think I think sometimes we get lost in speed and we want to, we have a lot of things that we're excited to get through. So we end up doing it. We know that there's a purpose, but we don't always explain it. I think in indie development, it's a little different for me because that's a little bit of a slower environment and there's
Mhm.
more dialogue.
Yeah.
So sometimes that's easy to leave with takeaways. And I try to, in our indie sessions, schedule time in there for a recap,
I
whether it's
like
me
that.
saying, what we take away or them saying what they've learned.
Yeah.
But I think the pace is the biggest thing.
Yeah. I think I'm always looking up at the clock and I'm seeing, as the time is clocking down. I know this past week I did it. I wanted more reps and I probably should pause for more of what you're creating space for, Chris, of the recap, or how can you do this now when we get booted out of this gym? It's see the
Yes.
last 90 seconds as useful for takeaways instead of, no, we need four more shots, right? Adrian, what do you
Yeah.
think?
No, I would agree with you guys. That's one of the things I've made an adjustment to my practice plan this year. If we ever have a season,
Yeah.
is trying to give them like three things, like each drill. These are three things we need to focus on to kind of really explain it, because
Mhm.
I find myself guilty of just we run the drill and sometimes we get in the flow of things just because we've been doing it, or I've been doing this drill for 10 years now. So I assume they know what I expect out of it.
Yeah.
But um, um, so one thing I'm trying to do is I on my practice plan I have a space saying these are the three reasons why, or these are the three purposes of this drill. Make sure you explain that in our um, relaying that message afterwards.
Yeah. Coach Kai, how's it going, man? Welcome in.
Hey guys, doing some yard work today. I don't know if you can hear me, so I'll just be double mute.
Okay. Okay. So I was thinking about that today because I know I'm very intentional with it when it's like a deep character development, healthy manhood topic, but I think I should be better with it on the court. And then I was wondering, what is your, Chris, have we done this? Adrian, have you done it? Like how that session just went. And I know we're all driven by time constraints, but like getting them to relay back like that 7 minutes and those 20 reps, how do you think that went? Because I know we always assess it. Like Chris, we'll meet Mac and Cam at the center while they're getting water, and we inevitably say
Right.
that was great or that was shitty or somewhere in between. But is there any
Yeah.
value in their takeaways from how that went? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I would. That's a valid point. Again, I've really tried to, or not tried. I have redone my practices for this coming year, and it's frustrating that we might not have
Yeah.
a practice this year. But I have it for the end of practice, and
Mm-hmm.
you can do it at the end of each drill. And sometimes I have side conversations with players saying, "Hey, how do you think that went?" Or
Yeah.
but doing it as a team, just getting more feedback from them and getting more input from them
Mm-hmm.
gives them a sense of accountability, because they're the ones giving you the feedback about things, and they're investing more
Yeah.
rather than having them buy in, giving them more invested. They're going to
Right.
be invested if they have a say in things, I think.
Yeah. Chris, I don't think we've ever done, and I know you and I have talked about, do our guys really have an understanding for
Right.
what the work level required is or the quality required?
Exactly. So I agree with everything that Adrian said, and to that point, Kip, yeah, like I like to hear them speak just to see what their level of understanding is.
Mm-hmm.
because just like everyone has different definitions of what good is or what going hard is and all that stuff. So yeah, it would be interesting to know,
Yeah.
and interesting to see if those conversations would lead to them doing things differently on their own.
Yeah. Right.
I think that's what makes the impact.
And what it like I'm thinking too, like we have a session, like Adrian, similar to you, if we ever get a chance to go back to a regular practice and work on some of these things, if one of our leaders was like, that sucked, and then we follow up with what should we do about it, and see if they say run it back or let's talk, just maybe, because we're always
Yeah.
solutions based, right? Maybe giving them some of that ownership into coach. I think we should do it again. And then, see if that, I don't know if that'll like it'll be this aha moment and suddenly everything's great, but maybe all these thoughts were with me today.
Yeah.
I was getting ready.
And Will would tell us why a drill sucked. That was poor design. He would let us know.
Oh, he absolutely would. Well,
Yeah,
coach,
so-
set it up with this and the line move better. It'd be good.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, here we are, Adrian, you've kind of relayed a little bit of it. I feel some of the frustration that you're conveying, and I know we're in the same boat. We just got shut down. Our kids are scattered to the wind 2 weeks earlier than we really were going to be. So really view through the lens. I think I'm in a spot where I feel rudderless, honestly, and I'm trying to process it and feel like if I'm in this spot, what are the guys feeling? We've had individual meetings by all week, the last 2 weeks, getting a lot of that sense of I don't know if it's unknown or more frustration with coach. We understand why this is happening. We're still pissed. There's nothing we can do about it, but I'm in that boat where I'm just like, I get into like a flow state to work, and then I stop myself with why are you doing all this? You're not going to be able to do shit with it. So I don't know. I don't have a real statement for that, but why, besides trying to cope and get myself through it.
Yeah, I would like an announced outcome either way, whether we're going to play games or we aren't, so I can shift focus accordingly. Because I think regardless of the decision, I would be energized either way to pursue whatever the next thing is.
I just wish just come out with something. If things are getting better,
Yeah.
you guys, people in those positions probably know what's going to happen already, and they're just delaying the inevitable, I feel like.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, I feel like I've found myself searching. Maybe our profession always provides us with this, and maybe athletes are used to this. I'm used to having an opponent to go after, whether it's in the abstract, like, hey, we got to be better, so we're working on ourselves, or Linfield this week, or recruit. I don't have an opponent to focus my energy on. I don't feel like as much as normal, right? So I feel myself kind of sprawl. I'm like pointing rage towards things that don't need the amount of rage I'm giving them, because I don't have the channeling of it. I feel like throughout this, and I think our guys are probably, Chris, some of them, we probably noticed some of those things. Like, what's his problem today? Well, let me tell you, there's about 9 things that are his problem.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just an uncomfortable environment for everybody.
Yeah. Well, let me go here, because we're talking about people that making decisions in truth. And I was thinking about this today on the left, because I know as coaches, our profession requires us to give kids bad information. It's just, we'd like to also be uplifting and provide them good, but often we're the first ones that tell them that they're less than in something. Mom and dad aren't very good at it these days, and we're the first ones that say, no, you're not going to be varsity, you're going to be JV, or no, you're not going to be moved up, you're going to stay freshman, or you're not a starter. And I have these conversations with others that, and I think this tweet did a good job about it. Radical honesty, whether, I just tell people shit. I just rip the Band-Aid off and tell them. And is that the only choice between sugarcoating and or being a dick? But is there space in between to exist and still get the truth out there? So I thought that was a good conversation for us today, because I think all of us end up having to have these difficult conversations. And especially as men, there's a tendency to say, no, let's just do it. Let's, you got to, truth hurts. But is that really the only way to deliver the truth? Thoughts on that?
I think there's a middle ground, especially as you build relationships with people. You kind of know how you can communicate and what people can handle.
Mm-hmm.
I think being able to communicate the truth is the most important. But again, it's not necessary to be mean or antagonistic. Like we talked about, Coach, Justice wanting to be a pro, and
Yeah.
the conversation that I had with him about, the player of the year in our conference who plays the same position as you, similar build as you, is not a pro.
Mm-hmm.
So I support you wanting to be a pro, but understand there are people better than you that have undeniably better basketball resumes than you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
in order for you to be a pro, you're going to have to do something that separates you, that is not purely basketball. And he
So
could handle that because, I think the facts were undeniable there,
yeah.
but also it wasn't like, Justice, you suck. There's no chance.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You didn't take the ultimate, I'm going to take a dump on your dreams by insulting you. You presented
Right.
truth to him.
Yeah.
Coach Lewis, have you been in those situations? Is it different coaching women? Is it similar? What do you, how have you dealt with that?
I think it comes down to the relationship piece too. Because when I first got the head coaching job, just my coaching style was a little bit different from the previous coach, and I was over the top at times. And
Yeah.
once those relations happen, you're able to have those conversations, regardless if you're upset or not. But I also think we got to teach kids how to process information, because everyone says listen. Everyone needs to listen. Yeah, they can listen and still not understand or process what's happening. So
Yeah.
just when a coach tells you something, processing what he's actually telling you instead of, oh, my coach was being a dick today. Just because he was upset, he said something at you, he was being a dick. Did you
Yeah.
actually listen or process what he was trying to get across? So I think it's a kind of a two-way street that we all have to start doing, is being able to communicate, not rip the band-aid off, but also helping our kids process information regardless of how it may upset them at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. I've said this so many, I know for a fact, I'm better in figuring out and talking about that processing part, Adrian, when Chris or another staff member is in the room with me at the end of delivering bad news, right? I think the tandem allows you to remember certain things you want to do. I know when it's me one-on-one, and even if I have a focus of, I want to end this meeting with, what is your takeaway or what is your action based upon what I say? Sometimes the atmosphere is so awkward, or the devastation, like you can feel the devastation. You want to just let the kid out of there. And I
Yeah.
know I haven't been good at, like, it's better when there's two of us, or the staff's meeting, because we all can kind of, in the summary of it, you got anything else? Somebody remembers, hey, what did you hear me say today to you? Because there's definitely loss in translation, but I know I've erred sometimes in, man, I know this kid is devastated. I got to get him out of here. Or even me, selfishly, like, I've had enough of this conversation. I want this person to leave the room, instead of just like you said, like, what are you leaving here with? Even if you're upset at me, what are you leaving here with as a plan, or you think you heard me say what? And I know that's hard. That's definitely something that we all probably, but I think it's a life skill too, right? Going forward
Yeah.
with our partners, with our kids, with our friends. And texting probably makes that even harder when you leave text floating in the air and don't follow up on what's happening. Oh,
So true.
man. Anything else on that, guys? The bottom one in the right corner was just something, they have like 6 followers. I think the guy just started it. This true husband story. It's I don't know if it's actually what he claims the follow is, but it says it's just the honest to God truth. It's like a therapeutic Twitter account for this man who's anonymous, of what he's thinking throughout the day. So it's like supposed to be just him puking out his thoughts. And so these ones kind of stuck with me. The same way women are reimagining what it means to be a woman in different spaces, men have to reimagine what it means to be a husband and a good friend in a relationship. Just trying to figure it out and historically failing. Yeah, it's not like an account that you go to every day for uplifting material, but I do think there's a little bit of, hey, somebody else is having these thoughts. Like, maybe that's why he's doing it, but I thought it's worth sharing that, because we just had a conversation in our group that Chris and I did, where we talked about, should men get credit for not cheating? And I know it brought up a lot of discussions in our team because there was a whole, it was the Breakfast Club, right, Chris?
Yeah.
Where somebody was saying, hey, women, you got to give us credit. Like if we gave us more credit for being faithful, then we'd be faithful more often. And so I put that up there for the guys, like, what do you think of this? Right? What do you guys think of this? And I think one of the quotes was, Coach, that's goofy, which I didn't know what that meant. That response. But just that thought, open it up for folks' thoughts on any of that. On that Twitter account, you can follow it, or on that question.
It's an interesting question.
Right. I mean, personally, I disagree, right? Like, no, you don't get a cookie. Like, you don't get a cookie for being a good dad. That's your job, right? You don't get a cookie for not cheating. That's what you signed up to not do. But it was I know there's others, and I'm not saying people on this call, but there was some guys that were quiet in our room that might have had some thoughts on this.
Yeah. I think as it relates to this tweet that the evolution piece is important. So like what you are today to be a good husband, coach, leader isn't necessarily what your people need from you tomorrow. So I think that's a constant growth.
Yeah. Kai, Coach Lewis, anything on that?
No, sorry, I was trying to get my women's pacifier in again.
No worries. Well, I think it also, it helped us talk a little bit in our meeting, the cheating concept, where as a man, you walk around and if you're attracted to XYZ that you see, you also sometimes bring with it the assumption that that person is readily available for you. And the only thing holding you back is your partner at home. And if you didn't have your partner at home, that girl you saw at Orange Theory today would be all over you. That's the only thing holding me back from all this sex. Right?
As soon as I get married, that's what held me back.
Exactly, right? Exactly. And so maybe that's a little bit of that
classic man thought.
Yes, that mirror training of, you know what, you're not that awesome. There are not women laying down as you walk by just ready for you to fall down on them. That's not the case.
They usually run away from me, but that's always happened.
But no, I mean, and a couple of our guys talked about it. I think they all knew where we landed on it. So we didn't get any like contrarian remarks, but we let them text through the poll everywhere. And in the poll everywhere, even their anonymous text-ins were, some of it was relating back to the jokes, like that guy's crazy, ha ha ha, but not really diving into the question or their answers. But a couple of them were similar to what we're saying. Like, men need to get over. Why do men need to be rewarded for something that everyone, like, you get in a relationship, both sides are required to do? So it was definitely a general. You could get a lot of discussions with that over a couple of beers, I'd imagine, if bars.
Absolutely, and it was the video itself was engaging, so everyone was into it, and even if they were joking about it, they were engaged and laughing and thinking about it.
Right. This one is, I was just going to quick mention and thoughts if you guys have experienced this with coaches groups. This past week I talked with the East Coast D3 conference, and one night I had their coaches, like 16 coaches from the league, and the next night I had players. And I think my expectation going in was I was going to get a lot of engagement from the coaches during the Zoom and little from the players. So I had like more of me planned to give. And I ended up with the opposite. Like, getting any engagement from coaches was like pulling teeth. Players, very open, honest from the first 10 minutes contributing. So I didn't know, you guys, if that was a topic thing, because it's, you're asking coaches to dive into ways they're trying to create better humans, or if you experience that in general. My thoughts are, we as coaches we always preach to our players to get better, be open-minded, and learn. And I've found in many instances with coaches throughout the years, coaches are the most closed-minded individuals. And maybe that's just me anecdotally, but thoughts on that from you guys.
And this was coaches and players together on the Zoom?
No, coaches by themselves on Tuesday night, players by themselves on Thursday night.
Were they all, you said coaches in the same conference?
Yeah. So maybe it was just the makeup, and like, I don't want to share with my enemy, so to speak.
that's what that's the first thing I thought of is
Yeah.
I wouldn't like if my conference, obviously when we do our awards and stuff, I open up and talk a lot, but I think serious topic like this, it might be
Mhm.
hard.
Yeah.
Especially when you see them as a rival
Yeah.
all the time. And now you're trying to do something good, but it's just
Maybe
different.
that vulnerability with somebody you don't trust yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Appreciate
I think
that.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
As far as the open-minded and closed-mindedness goes, I think players are more used to being challenged than coaches are.
Mm.
And you meet a lot of coaches that are set in their ways, and I do this because this is what I've been doing for 30 years.
Yeah.
So I think the new things that challenge them would leave them a little bit quiet.
Yeah. I guess maybe I'm spoiled because I talk with you guys and other coaches, right? And our other groups that we do, Chris, and everybody's talking. And then maybe
Right.
guys that had to be there because their conference commissioner told them. It was more like a task than a willingness, right?
Right.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. Yeah, it was very.
Yeah, because the people that want to change and grow are seeking these opportunities.
Yeah. And there, so that one's on the left. So this is exactly what we were talking about. And I can share that in the chat here. That's the link to the conversation. And I think it plays across both genders too, Adrian, for your group too, because I'm sure women would have a very strong reaction to what this gentleman happens to say. But I think it's good for discussion going forward. And then we use this tweet up here to launch into it. How pathetic you sound saying you want to be congratulated for not cheating in relationship, right? It's like, give me a cookie because I was in stance that one trip on defense, coach. I know, but there were 94 other trips. And right?
But the one time I did it good.
But I'll send that in an email so it's easier to grab and go. But it was a good one. And my wife and I watched it too, and we had fun discussions. Not that there was any disagreement, but it was an interesting discussion too. So, but anything else for the group? I know it's a little shorter today.
And he makes good music. I was so sad.
Hey, that's that piece, Coach Chris. Males in our life we like, and then we find out stuff about them we don't. How do we?
Who is it?
I don't know how to deal with it. His name is Reason, and he's just like a super clever lyrical rapper. He's like from the Kendrick Lamar label, so like similar type vibe, but he's like really good and really smart. And then he was saying this stuff, and it's like,
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Hey, we're back.
Yes, I don't know how to separate those
things. I
things.
still play
Sometimes.
Michael Jackson and R. Kelly songs, knowing who they were. So far, I've said I could play Jackson 5 songs because when he was a kid, he wasn't doing that shit. That's been my own self pass to doing that. I don't know if it's accurate.
Absolutely, I still do the same thing. I try to justify why I can play R. Kelly.
Right.
I really like this song. I gotta listen to it.
Even Kanye, he's from.
Right, I know. Yes.
Yeah.
Can I go back to like the 07 Kanye? He was not crazy. Can I rock out to that?
Right. I think it's okay. I think you can do it.
Jesus. I know. Is he better at music or being memes now? It's a toss up.
Ooh.
He's so many.
I think it's the memes.
I
walked out of Sparks one time last year, and Lacrosse was out there practicing, and they were playing R. Kelly Ignition so loud, and I walked out there. I was like, "Yeah, this is," and I was like, "Oh, damn, maybe the women's lacrosse team shouldn't be bumping this super loud."
Right. We should send Sarah the link. Surviving.
Yeah.
Thanks. But hey, I appreciate you guys. Appreciate the 30 minutes. I know it's crazy times out there. So stay safe, stay healthy. I'll see you at 4:30 for the MCAP.
Absolutely.
All right, Adrian, Kai, see you guys.
Cool. Thanks, guys.